Assholes. We allowed to swear?
Fuck no.
No, man.
This podcast should be American. 110% fucking blood red American. The NDAA. Fuck yeah! Everybody slaying vagina left and right. Cyborg Jesus.
Ooh, Jesus, America.
Hey, this is Redban coming to you live from Death Squad Studios for a new episode of Pointless. Here's your host, Kevin Pereira.
Let me loosen these ear cups and drain the blood that's pouring out of my eardrum from that intro. My God. Mixmaster Brian. What did I do? Trying to puncture some brains with them levels. Poor Jonah is standing here going like, that's a cool song. I can't see right now.
Yeah, you mean
everything hurts in my body.
I looked a lot and didn't look cool at that moment. Didn't look cool.
So much to say, stories to tell. I have a Portland tale about hiding a dead body in a river. It's true. It's amazing. But we will get to that maybe later, perhaps another time. We have an Xbox One chat. Who fucking cares? Right now, ladies and gentlemen, not about the Xbox One, I mean about the chat. That will happen. I'm very excited for it, but I'm even more so excited to officially introduce you to the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a writer, a director. You've directed some shit, right?
Sure,
You've done
sure.
that. Stand-up comedian, consummate podcaster, lover of whales, protector of...
Do you want me to fill in?
I didn't know. Yeah.
Oh,
so
I don't
that's-
protect shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
A protector of nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonah Ray is here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All the dicks. Right in servicing all the fans like a circus seal.
I saw that once at there was like a dance cam at a Dodgers game. You know, that like if you the cam's
Cut to
on
people
you.
in the crowd dancing
Yeah,
to Boston.
And, like, yeah, there was just a bunch of people dancing, and then there was one guy doing like this kind of fist up in the air, pumping him up. But then like he sees himself on the jumbo cam, and he gets really excited and off rhythm, and then starts like checking with his friends to see if like they see him on the cam, and it just turns into him doing this. It was great. And then there was some like Mexican dude behind me just going, dick sucking dance, bro.
He's baby birding, bro. Yeah. Best seventh inning stretch ever. How are you, good sir?
I'm good.
You are busy.
I am.
Can I give you the
busy.
adjective? I ask you how you are, and then I tell you how you are.
Yeah.
That was really rude of me. I'm sorry.
that's like a weird. What's
how are you? Depressed.
Yeah. What's the guy from the Kid
Drew
Stays
Carey,
in the Picture?
whose line is it
Kid
anyway?
Stays in the Picture. What was that? Robert. Fuck. What's the guy's name?
Robert Loggia.
No, not Robert Loggia, but like
De Niro.
he has that.
Redford.
He has that. That way of speaking where it's like, did I care? Hell no. Yeah, I knew the picture had to get made.
That's true.
Yeah, how you doing?
How you doing?
Horrible.
You're horrible. You're busy. You're tired.
Yeah, exactly.
How them bones worked.
I'm always tired. I don't know if I'm busy or if I just nap too much. I think I would have like a nice even keeled life if I weren't sleeping most of the day.
What is your day to day these days?
I don't.
mean, what
you
is
know,
it?
I was writing at the Soup for about a year, and then I left because I just wanted to do other things and. Everyone's like, what have you been up to lately? And there's never any day where I'm able to tell you what I do. It feels like there's something different every day.
So there's just no consistency.
Yeah, and that's what I could tell myself when I'm not good at going to the gym. I was like, I don't have a schedule. I
can't really can't squeeze it in. My whole life is a wild card.
Yeah,
no time
it
for
really
bench
is.
presses.
I never know if I have to sit on my couch watching TV, checking Twitter.
Right. You never know when the next Game of Thrones marathon is going to present itself.
And that's the thing. It's like when I'm watching TV. I DVR old Simpsons, and that's pretty much all I watch when I'm at home. I just watch like Simpsons from like 93, 95.
You can just BitTorrent or box set all of that without having to wait for your favorite episode from 96 to rerun.
No, because this is the difference, and this is what you'll probably get into with some of your Xbox One talk, is that sometimes entertainment is good when you just come across it. Sometimes you don't want every option.
Sure.
You want the 3 episodes that are on your DVR, or you like whatever's on at the time. That's like there's a big part of that where there's like appointment watching, and then there's sometimes it's like, oh, which one's on there? Oh, Homer and Apu, and they Apu gets thrown out of the quick.
You want someone else to shuffle the deck for you.
Yeah,
I
Apple
think so.
Shuffle target market.
Yeah. We're not talking Apple Shuffle. We're talking about there's a guy that was hired at KDOC or whatever affiliate
right.
to say I'm gonna put, because like all they're airing right now are like very specific golden era Simpsons, and that's a conscious choice from some guy at this company.
Is it, or is it just those episodes are the cheapest now to air in syndication? So
I think the earlier ones would be the ones that aren't as good.
What's the golden era of Simpsons?
I think it starts with like season 3 and it goes to about season 7.
Is that the one where you could tell that they were still using Taiwanese like animators?
Yeah,
like the faces are still kind of stretched weird. And
yeah, there's
awkwardly
still
and-
like a lot of weird walks and cycles and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. But it's it's
for some reason Maggie's chained to a radiator in a lot of it and crying. I guess that's a regional humor
every
thing.
single time.
It's
Yeah,
a regional thing.
They love it.
But okay, so with the lack of consistency, then obviously you did another 30-minute special recently,
30-minute
right?
special that's airing this Friday. This Friday, that's weird.
Oh my god! Well, this won't hit iTunes until 2014.
Oh,
That's when
well,
Brian
okay.
uploads things.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
Well,
Apple
you know-
has my computer right now, which is why it sucks.
Hopefully, it's so good that I can just say it's this Friday and it will be on this Friday. They'll rerun it.
it's going to be the golden era of comedy. Someone's going to put that on each and every Friday from here on out. What was that experience? I mean, was it? Hey, I have 30 minutes. I know you cobbled together some stuff from albums and you did some original stuff, but that must have been a consistent.
it was all
thing,
original.
Like you were right.
Yeah, I putting it together was weird because I like things to have a consistent tone throughout. I like to, one bit to go into the next, and I did my best with that. But then also a wrench that was thrown into it was that I had done Mashup earlier in the year, which was T.J. Miller and Jordan Vogt Roberts' show, and like anything I did on that show, they didn't want me doing on the special.
Right.
But like there was a joke in that one that I really wanted to start the set with because what it does is it's a normal bit, but then I talk about doing that bit out of college and how it fell on its face, and then it made me feel old for the first time, and then the set becomes about that. About feeling old.
Perfect
and
catalyst for the avalanche of chuckles and giggles that is to follow.
Exactly. Yeah. Mostly guffaws.
You get a couple guffaws?
Got a couple guffaws. Yeah,
Whoa.
Yeah.
Any gasps?
No, but chortles are there.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's like it was fun. It was fun like piecing it together and them telling me like take that one out because it was already and then having to plead for it.
And did the cooler heads prevail? Did you get your way?
Yeah, I did. Well, because I explained to them all you have to do really if you're talking to like executive types or people that you make the plea for art. You go this would sully the foundation of the piece I'm trying to create for you. Will you take away David's balls? No, it wouldn't work,
Right.
So,
I hand you this paintbrush. You stab my heart with it. You do not modify my canvas.
Yeah, make the case for art and be really as poetic as you can about it.
Sure.
And it feels cheesy, but like it helps you get your way, I think. Yeah, with any kind of stuff. I mean, you've had to like make the case for a lot of stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah,
over the years.
I've just given up for many of those years. I've just stopped making cases
Yeah,
for most
yeah.
of my life. I'm just like, all right, fuck it, whatever.
Well,
Piss on my art.
You're
It's
on a
fine.
daily show. It's like there's so much energy you can expel for that stuff. But
yeah.
like you know when it makes a difference.
I know what it's worth fighting for.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's why some people quit networks and leave.
Yeah,
or,
exactly.
Or get to keep the joke in for their set as
Yeah,
well.
thank
Now,
you very
when
much.
that was done, I mean, I saw, I read an interview that you gave about it, and you said like, your normal mode of operation is, oh, I just did that thing. I'm gonna go beat myself up about it for like a couple hours in the corner and just
Yeah.
hate myself and think about everything I did wrong.
Couple hours is giving me credit. It's just, I'm gonna walk away from this recording thinking about like how all the things I could have said, all the things I shouldn't have said, all the things that wasn't funny. Everything I do, I fucking cannot stand, and it's weird because like it's like I still go and do stuff. Clearly, it's not stopping me.
Right.
But I usually like any show I have, I don't like it, and it's like I don't. I always feel like I was.
Do you have fake Twitter accounts where you troll yourself?
Yeah,
Fucking at Jonah Ray, what a shit performance.
I don't want scars on my arms, so I just want them on my soul.
Yeah, you cut those digital thighs.
Yeah,
Never wear a
exactly.
skirt so no one can see.
Yeah, like it's.
Has it always been like that? Like with you, like creatively, when you do something or when you're artistic, have you immediately gone to, I'm going to tear myself down about this?
No, I don't know when it started. It's probably like a weird, like deep-seated psychological thing. Growing up Catholic, who knows? What
Sure.
it is, like that whole fear of, I shouldn't want I don't deserve,
Right.
all that
Right.
kind of
that
weird.
felt good. That can't be allowed.
Yeah,
Jesus is
yeah.
going to smite me.
Exactly. All that
Yeah.
stuff that like you don't even think it's like, I haven't considered myself a religious person since I was like 4 years old, but like, that stuff is still in you.
Yeah,
It's
those
ingrained.
ones and zeros were coded into you at a very young age.
Yeah. And so, there's a lot of that there. And it's also like, I'm such a huge fan of comedy. Like it's all I've ever loved. And like, it's all I've ever wanted to do. I've always just wanted to like do stand up and sketch and act in comedies and direct comedy and like write stuff.
Right.
That's all. That's the greatest part about comedy is the wide spectrum in which you can be involved in it. And I've always loved it. And and when I started doing it, I started seeing all these people that were, oh my God, this guy's amazing. Oh my God, this guy's hilarious. This girl is blowing my mind. It's all, and like, I'm such a huge fan
Right.
of all the stuff I see around me. And I'm not seeing these people get the stuff I'm getting. And then there's this like crazy survivor's guilt that happens where it's like, why not? Why? Some comics, like I know, like this year, like in my head, like I was like Hampton Yount is one of my like favorite comics like around right now, and like get him on TV. Why? How did he's so much funnier than me? That kind of stuff happens to me, and then I feel just like an outsider looking in and hating everything I do.
But this special was not that experience, right? Like this was the time you walked away from it and you were like, oh, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about it.
So that means it's gonna fucking suck, right?
Yeah,
like, isn't
probably.
that the thing?
I can't imagine any other thing. Like,
I always feel like the ones that I walk away from, which are few and far between, not stand up. I could never do what you do. I'm just not going to happen. Get it? Like that's an art form. Don't have that skill. But in my little tiny creative world that I like to pretend I'm creative in, if I walk away from something feeling remotely good about it, I know it's going to be 1,000 tiny dicks stabbing me in the ear holes and the nose and the heart and the ass everywhere.
Yeah.
And just like, oh, that was terrible. We hate it. We hate you. And that's and I deserve it. Like, has that fear gripped you?
But do you only notice that because you feel good about it? Do you only notice that?
That's a good question. I feel like I have an amazing ability, like I think after doing this podcast, many creatives do, to always notice the negative more than the positive. So I feel like, I pretty much am looking out for those dicks left and right.
Yeah. Well, it's it's hard to say. I did enjoy it, and the clips.
I mean, that's great. Congrats
Thank
on
you.
getting to that point.
Thank
that's
you, yeah.
that's an amazing thing. But I can only imagine that that must also trigger like an ancillary, unwarranted fear of, oh, I liked it. So what does that mean?
Yeah. But in the end, it really, there's been great half hours. There's been horrible half hours.
Right.
But it really, in the end, like it doesn't really seem to change much.
Well, that was the other thing is that because the half hour, and again, pardon my ignorance on this one, but I had always, any comedian that gets a special of any length or it gets a billing like that is, it's always like, oh my God, this is a thing. It's happening. It's here. And you were sort of like, well, it'll be a thing they'll put on a flyer next to my name.
Yeah.
It'll be the new thing that they'll put in quotes to get me my next thing.
Yeah, it'll say Nerdist Podcast, Comedy Central. They won't even say half hour. Just say
Right.
Nerdist Comedy Central. And that's that's it. That's what it'll say.
21.7 minutes on CC.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I mean, commercials, guys. You got to factor them in.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Does that? Do you feel defeated at that, or are you like, nah, that's what it is?
No,
It's
that's
fine.
that's what it is. That's you got to keep on moving forward. You can't hold anything too precious. I mean, you understand. I mean, the essence of podcasting isn't to we're not going to go back and listen to these and go, oh wow, let's save it for we're not going to be at the museum of television.
Why are we doing this? What's going on?
We're not going to be at the museum of television, radio, and podcasting 50 years from now and going, oh, and then when I made that joke about that guy in the news that week, all the stuff just kind of flitters flutters away. It seems I don't know what it is that's happened to me where I seem so I have such a dark view on doing this stuff, but it's more about just doing it than it is about what comes of it.
Well, what brings you joy other than spontaneous searching with random folks on the streets? Other than search engines, what gets you going these days?
Oh boy,
Let's
that's
talk
about
Bing.
it. That's
Let's
about
talk
it.
Bing.
That's the only thing that really
have you talked in depth
about
about Bing? Because I haven't heard it. If you have,
I have not ever really talked about it.
Are
in
you
public. I made jokes
fucking
about it.
loaded?
I'm not.
Really?
I'm not loaded. Yeah.
Because that shit you should be, first of all,
Yeah.
because you had to be the Bing guy, which is not I don't say that like it's a bad thing, but it's like that's a big deal to be like, I'm aligning myself with a search engine, especially the one that people sometimes make jokes about.
Yeah, well, it's all happenstance, the whole thing.
What do you mean? Oh, the way it came about?
The way it came
How,
about.
how did it come about? Well, let me just say real quickly,
Sure, yeah.
because that thing, for those who haven't seen it, if you haven't seen it, open your eyes. You must be blind if you haven't seen it, because it's on TV left and right. It's in front of anything. I don't even watch Hulu, but Hulu presents me that ad at times, and then it goes away, and then I go back to YouPorn.
Yeah.
It is everywhere. You're in pre-rolls on Cum Fiestas.
Yeah. Great! Finally,
It airs everywhere, and I would hope that you have a gold-plated helicopter with bedazzled pilot seat.
That would make it worth it.
How did that come about?
Well, it's I was at the Soup, and like usually when any kind of commercial comes up or any audition, I just go, no, I can't make it. Well, I can't do it. Real defeatist. And then like they're like, well, they want you to come in for this thing, and like I was like, where is it? And it was really close by, and I knew the place that they were. I knew the place they were doing it at. And I was like, oh, that place, I hate that place. I'm not going.
I'm not going. The parking's terrible.
Yeah, the parking's terrible.
They take forever. There's no water.
And then they're like, well, the director wants you. I was like, the
straight to director, huh?
Yeah.
Well, did he see my reel? Is he familiar with
exactly?
my?
And I'm like, who is it? They're like, oh, they don't know. And then I'm like, all right, well, I'll go in. I'll go in, and then I went. It was just some guy, and I was just like, how would you? They just like say, I'll be a person on the street. Talk to me about Bing. I go, yeah, just. And I didn't care, so I was just being, just joking around as much as I could. And then the next day they're like, hey, they want you to come back in today. I was like, I don't want to. I don't want to do it. They're like, oh, they like you though. And so I came back in, and it turned out the director of them was my friend Jason Wolliner, who also is the director and co-creator of Eagle Heart on Adult Swim and
awesome.
Human Giant. He's like the
Awesome.
fourth member of Human Giant. And I worked with him on that show, and I wrote on that show, and like. He I'm there and I'm making people laugh, and but like still not think I'm gonna get it, because I'm a guy that looks like me. I'm not really spokesperson material,
Right. They're not going to have that slow-mo shot of you flipping your hair back from
Yeah.
underneath a waterfall.
Yeah, exactly.
As you talk about search engines.
They'll cut away before I smile on these things.
We don't want to come off too robotic. I know we're algorithms, but look at this human trying to figure out emotion.
Yeah, and like it was just one thing that it was supposed to be an online only thing. It was supposed to just be like, it's like they had two commercials. One was going to be like the big one they were going to put on TV,
Sure,
do all this stuff, and then there was this one which was kind of just for the nerds.
You're the digital
pre-roll.
guy.
Yeah. And something happened with the production of the other one, but they had already
Gerard Depardieu fell out.
Yes, it was no longer available.
Get me Jonah Ray.
And then so they just used that ad buys, and they put the other one on the one I did.
But contractually, though, doesn't that mean then they have to back a dump truck filled with stacks of stripper dollars and just dump them on your front porch?
Now, I'm not going to say like I haven't made like a good amount of money on these things, but
For as much as they run it, you should be
I was
retiring. You're the fucking you're Flo. You are Flo.
You're making me sad.
Oh no, I'm not. That's not the intent at all. It's it's so popular.
I've never thought about Flo. Can you hear me now, guy? Where the fucking donuts? Where's the beef? I haven't thought about these people more my entire life.
Right.
Like I think about the
Mikey likes it.
I've been thinking about the "Can you hear me now" guy so much. I was like, what is he doing now? What did he want to do? What were his plans before this thing?
Let me ask you. Yeah, what did he do before that commercial?
Who knows?
Okay, but people know what you do before the Bing commercial.
Yeah,
That's the distinction I'm going to make.
Not
for him.
most,
That's all right.
Yeah, like. Well, so at my wedding reception, my grandparents were like, "Oh, the Bing commercials, like, we're glad it finally worked out for you." And I was like, "It's been working out. I've been making a living on my own off of things I think of." You old bastards! Like, I was so upset. Like, it's finally where I was like, and this is like, it's like, and then there's that like that punk rock guilt that's still like way deep inside of me of just like, I'm the shilling for a major corporation.
Right. Have you found yourself being like, oh, I can't, like, hey, you guys want to Bing that? You guys, because I got to say it? Or have you felt like you don't want to say?
Well, I'm not officially the spokesperson. They've never offered me a spokesperson. Like, there's like, what I've found through commercials is that, like, when I saw people in commercials, like you see like an open micer guy or like and Brian could like attest to this. Like you see a guy in a commercial and you're like, oh, that guy's fucking making bank. That's
right.
Crazy. And then like, you just assume that. And now that I'm there, like, I'm like, oh, it's like, okay, money. It's like,
right.
It's all right. Like,
Right.
it's not, But if they made the offer for me to be,
If
the
they ironclad
spokesperson,
locked you down, you can only Bing things. You can only think Bing thoughts. You can only
tweet about Bing,
do
all this
yeah.
stuff for Bing. Yeah, that would be
Right.
the case. They haven't made that offer.
Well, I think they should. You're everywhere. No, okay, never mind. I was trying to.
Well, no, that's the other thing. Like, the girl who Stephanie Corney, she's Flo.
Yeah.
She was in, she was like a live sketch performer. She was in like a couple like movies and stuff like that. And she's really funny. Sorry, am I messing up your shot?
No, but
Sorry.
can she go anywhere now and not be Flo?
Because she's in a.
That's not progressive.
That's solid. That's a great joke.
Thank you.
Did you gear it up? Were you had that cocked? Were you waiting for
No.
that?
This
good.
is we shoot from the hip. Is that a thing? Is that an industry term? What do you say?
I think so.
Okay.
Pereira.
I think so.
We make magic in real time.
Bing is pretty badass, though. I mean, look at that. That's way better than Google.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And
Yeah.
you know what? I've seen it firsthand work way more. Like people do tend to enjoy.
That was the other thing I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Like, how skewed is
It's
that
not
experiment?
skewed,
It's not
really,
right. Like
it's like I'm just like people are searching stuff and
Right.
then they pick the side they want.
Although I do, and I don't want to make you have to defend that commercial or anything else, but it is like, so let's say you're in California and you're interested in surfing. Type in surfing. I'm like, who puts surfing into a search engine? Like I remember when the internet first came out, yeah, you'd go like rollerblades or
Yeah.
teacup poodles or whatever gay shit
Yeah.
I was searching for
Yeah, what
at
do I
11 years
want?
old. But who's going to put in surfing? Although that is a beautiful results page. That is, I'm going to give you that. That is a beautiful
Yeah,
results page.
Nicely laid out, and
Yeah,
it's not bad.
it's fine.
But I would have
It's
just
fine.
said it because, if you said Bing, you got a free Xbox. So, of course, I was going to say Xbox.
Well, that was the thing. People like are so nice with it's like there's the whole like hey, what do you prefer, Bing or Google? And who knows with me saying this stuff, maybe they'll never want to work with me again. Who knows? But like hey, Bing or Google? They go, oh, I don't care. And then I go, no, pick one. And they go, well, Google. And I go, what if I told you that more people prefer Bing over Google? And they go, yeah, sure. I go, no. You gotta say no, and then like, and then you get like you might get an Xbox. I was like, oh, I love Bing. Where's my Xbox? No. You still have to go through the challenge.
Right.
People are very savvy.
Surfing. I'm into
Yes,
surfing.
surfing.
Can we just type surfing?
And it is like the thing is though, like, I could probably say all this stuff just because in the end I'm there with people searching 5 things in a row, and then more often than not they do end up choosing Bing over Google, and like that's like whatever. Just
So after all that, you come to the same conclusion that they were at the beginning of it, which was all right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to the ArcLight.
I know. Yeah,
I got a show.
I have apps to go to specific things I want to go to.
Have you caught like that punk rock edge and angle inside of you? Have you felt guilty or caught flack for being the Bing guy, or are people pretty? Because I feel like with your audience, they're probably like, okay, cool. That's Jonah. We like Jonah.
There's a huge part of that. There's a lot of people I get a lot of tweets going, Bing, really? Yeah. And they don't like, it's like, and then people.
It's a good thing Twitter doesn't support italics.
Yeah. Really? I always thought someone could make a lot of money on a keyboard where if you press the letters harder, it turns them into more sarcastic font.
Slant them.
Yeah.
You can slant the
Yeah.
keys.
Oh, that's great.
Super happy for your commercial campaign.
But like a lot of people just like, oh, really big.
Yeah.
It's like sorry, Jonah. I like Google One. I hope this doesn't like or
Yeah, exactly.
a lot of people
The
think
war's over, bro.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like a lot of people think I have a personal vested interest in it, where it's it's odd to be spending 10 years working on things where you're creative and you're making an effort to make something good. The output is this thing that you worked on and you tried hard to make it good before you put it out there.
Right.
And, be it a sketch or a stand-up piece or a written thing or, any kind of stuff like that, or even like a picture that you worked on and edited and like, posted on your site. And the thing that people know you most for is Bing or Google,
At least your family members now know that you're making a living at it. You're finally doing something good, right?
I really thought like it was going to be like, hey, I'm on the Soup, a show. Finally, I'm on a show you've heard of, and like just
Right.
oh, Talk Soup. Yeah. No.
Well, he's good on Community.
Yeah,
Does that have to, are you on that one?
Yeah.
I recently got the, hey, when are you going to do something that we can watch? Like something that matters. I really got that from a
Jesus.
family member.
Jesus.
It made me laugh so hard. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
It's fine. I don't think people mean it that way, but it's sort of like, that's a job. That's a livelihood. That's a passion. It's a lot of things. And for you to go like, oh, I can't see it, so it's bullshit, or it doesn't matter. Oh, it's a digital series. Well, what am I gonna? I'm gonna ask an 11-year-old to put it on my TV for me because I don't know how to fucking watch that shit.
Yeah.
It's like,
You're gonna have to.
That's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, there was just last night. I looked at a Bill Watterson quote. Bill Watterson, the creator of Calvin and Hobbes, and he had this whole thing about talking about like why is it like why are you made to feel like a failure if not everybody knows who you are? Like, why are you made to feel like you're less than because you'd rather just kind of focus on these things and not take it to its ultimate limit? Like when someone wants to take a break from their career to be a parent, like, why are they like, oh, they're really throwing it away for the kid? Like, why are people why does everybody have to be an alpha?
I guess their arms hurt from stretching for the stars, so they just went ahead and said, fuck it, I'm going to procreate.
Yeah, exactly.
I had that same a similar conversation, reminds me of that with someone recently. And it was like, look, you could be followed and listened to and understood and recognized and known by a million people, but if you don't touch one of them, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah.
And I was having a chat with someone, and they happened to write poetry, and I was like, okay.
Well, except for them, they're the worst.
Exactly.
Yeah. All that stuff. I take back what I said about that. Okay. Get a fucking job.
It was Kanye West, and what he does is poetry, so you watch it. Yeah. But no, and he was saying like, look, no one would know who he is. He wouldn't actually want me to mention his name or have him on the podcast, which is interesting to me because ultimately he wants to reach people and affect them, but doesn't really care to do that aggressively or actively. But he was like, I'd rather have 15 people that I totally affect, that I change their emotions and their headspace, and I get to them or I make them think about things in new ways, than have 200,000 Twitter followers and half of them are like, fuck you, or half of them are tweeting me like, shout out me, it's my birthday.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I kind of get that. I kind of see that now.
Yeah. I mean, and we're in a day and age where it's possible to like, have this like kind of lifestyle of ours and focus on the people that want it. And that's, gone are going to be the days soon of just like mega stars across the board. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Like, if I think about some of my favorite movies, and like,
were they ones that everybody loved resoundingly with stars
some,
that everybody loved? Some, right?
Some. But like,
Moulin Rouge, sure.
Yeah.
But for every Moulin Rouge,
there's a bunch of what's that other one that came out?
Super Troopers?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But like Ed Wood is my favorite movie.
Okay. Yeah.
Ed Wood is my favorite movie of all time. I think it's a perfect movie. It's great. It's heartfelt. It's funny. It's cool looking. Really well acted, and not everyone's seen it. Mm-hmm. It really was considered a bomb for Tim Burton standards, but it does. But like, here's like, and I've brought this up before. I think about this a lot when it comes to like punk rock stuff. I was talking to somebody who was saying to me like, oh, who would you want to have on the podcast? Who's like a person you would just love to have on the podcast? Right. And I said Ian MacKaye. And they're like, oh, who's that?
Let me bing him real quick.
Yeah. Ian MacKaye. And like, and you don't know who that is, right?
I don't. That was being sarcastic.
He was in Fugazi and Minor Threat.
Oh, okay.
And then, but then I said that to that person. They're like, oh, I don't know who that is. I was like, oh, well, he was the guy from Minor Threat and Fugazi and runs Discord Records. And they're like, oh, I don't know those either. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a subculture of a subculture. It's not even like punk rock. It's hardcore. And then Fugazi is a different thing.
A niche of a narrow interest.
Yeah, exactly. And then this person has no idea about this thing that changed my life. Like getting into this music and being into this guy and what he did and talked about changed my life. Like like I always say like it's cheesy and it sounds like like so weird, but like punk rock like saved my life, and then like comedy changed it. Like it's like as a kid finding punk and just being able to have this idea that you can do things on your own. And it all
what was it about punk? Was it the music itself, or was it the message?
The music. It was the aesthetic. It was the the DIY aspect of it. Like who's like I'm
gonna stamp my own buttons and put studs on my shoes because fuck it.
Yeah, because like no one else is gonna do it.
Right.
I want this and no one else is gonna do. Like it's like the idea of like I remember I was talking to a guy. I'm getting way off, but like I was talking to a guy when I worked at the ArcLight. He was like, "Oh, I really want to be an actor." And I was like, "Well, then go and act." And he's like, "Who's gonna I'm just gonna walk down to a studio and I was like, no, write something, make the movie, find someone, go to take a class, then go and do a play at this. Like
find someone who wants to make a movie, who needs somebody like you who wants to be in one.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
a million ways.
There's a million playhouses along Santa Monica Boulevard.
Right.
I'm sure one of them would like love for you to intern and then start acting and then like be a part of it. Just act, just do it. And that's what I always loved about like the punk rock aesthetic was just do it, just go for it. And
so how did that? I'm just curious. How do you think that saved your life? Did you need just like proof that you were in charge of your own life and destiny, or were you at a time where you didn't feel like you were in control?
I was a fat white kid in Hawaii. I needed a thing. I needed a thing that like I could. School sucked. Walking around town was the worst.
What was there in town other than shaved ice and
surfers,
hula lessons?
Just nothing much to do for a kid that just kind of like was looking for more stuff. And then I started playing in bands, and then saw like, hey, there's a band. There's like a bunch of punk bands playing at the cafeteria at school this Saturday night. Let's go. And we go, and it's like all these people we've never seen before that look so cool. And then like we want like, hey, we're in a band too. Well, it's like, oh, I'm putting on this other show. Well, and then it's like me and this, my friend Donald and like our friend Raph, like 14, 13 years old, like having someone drive us to the other side of the island as we set up our equipment and play like a horrible set, but it was all us, and it was all the things that we wanted to do, and
sure.
So it completely was like the best thing that ever happened to me was the idea that you can just go and do it on your own and not have to wait for anyone to give you the okay, and so when I was talking to this person, and one of my biggest heroes of all time, Ian MacKaye, just created his own record label, still runs it to this day. And there's a lot of guys like that across the country. There's Todd Congelia from Recess Records. There's Brett Gerwitz from Epitaph, which is like the biggest indie in the world. Like there's all this different kinds of stuff. And this person this person that changed my life, in MacKaye, this person that's asking me, and he has no idea who this is.
Right.
No idea.
No concept of him or probably punk music in general or his record label or anything else.
But, and does that take away anything that guy did?
No.
Yeah, it doesn't take away anything. It doesn't add anything. It doesn't do anything. It's just because for that guy, for me, and for a lot of people, but for most people, nothing. For a good amount of people, it was, they always tell that story about when Sex Pistols went on like one of its first tours in the UK, no one was really at those shows, but the people at those shows were Morrissey and
right.
and like Johnny Marr or the guys from Joy Division or another show where it's like these guys they peppered throughout this thing all these guys that ended up doing these other things.
And what spawned this discussion was that notion of, it was a perfect example, like, oh, you take a break to have a kid, and the world goes, oh, what happened? Is this your way of failing out? Like, what is this? That pressure to constantly produce or be, forward momentum. I think confusing activity with achievement, it's very dangerous.
Yes.
Look at I'm doing all this stuff. Isn't that great? And
yeah.
I don't know. You tell me. Is it great? Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Are you fulfilled?
Exactly.
So do you feel that? Like, do you feel that pressure? I mean, you work with a lot of guys who are constantly grinding away, and on one hand it's impressive as shit, on the other hand it's like, oh my god, are you okay? Like, can I give you a hug? Are you still like, are you living a life? Like
that's the stuff I'm more concerned with. Like the happiest I am is when me and my wife are like sitting around a fire in our friend's backyard, and just
one you've lit, and it's probably a neighborhood cat or dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever's there,
and it's just like those are the moments that I aim to like those make me happy, just shooting the shit and having fun, not talking about careers or what we're doing or
not stressing minutia and contracts.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to go on and create art and in any context, why don't you just have some time where you can maybe get inspired? You're never going to get work will never inspire more work.
Right.
It's
but a mortgage can make you churn out some shitty sketches. I know.
Yeah.
I know, man.
The
work won't, but the bills will.
That's the thing. It's like, and like for people to say it's like, wow, you're kind of successful right now. You're on that commercial. I was like, I have no emotional stakes in that commercial. It's
right.
I've done nothing. It's like literally. It's like the first couple like I had some funny lines in there, but like like the newer ones, it's really just me going like, "Hey, we're here, Bing, Bing. Did you Bing? Google Bing, Bing, Bing one, Bing it on," and then it's done. There's like there's
and you're not slaving away in an edit bay to Final Cut and like trying to match the perfect song with the perfect frame. Like you showed up, you did it. That's someone else's handiwork now.
Yeah, it's everyone else. Yeah, it's their job.
I look at that and I go, man, I hope you got a fuck ton of money, and not because you deserve it. Don't get me wrong, but not because like that in and of itself is cool or interesting, but because then it frees you up to go have as many of those nights by the fire as you want.
Exactly.
And come up with the shit that you want to do, and then you can fund it.
That's
and
exactly it. Yeah.
Well, now when I see it, and it took me a while to recognize that in this world of like looking at people who had a lot of money or a lot of success and going like, well, how is that? Clearly that's the happiness. I was like, no. Really, it's the bullshit movie that George Clooney will tell you is bullshit is the one that he does so he can go afford to make 15 of the smaller movies that you're never going to hear about.
Yes.
That are going to bring him joy and passion.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. No, it's and that I love that about like just doing all this stuff is just there's the money gigs here and there, and like luckily I was able to like I could have just stayed at the Soup and had and made the same amount of money cumulatively that I did with the Bing commercial, but I was like I was there in an office every day all day, and there's no room and time for that.
I know what that's like.
Yeah, exactly. So you sell yourself out a little bit, and you have some more time to work on to make more like videos like Master of the Internet, which is like like the stuff I want to get back to doing.
That is, can you pull that up? That's still one of my favorite damn things.
Oh, thanks.
I fucking love that video.
Thank you.
Have you seen it, Brian?
Masters of the Internet?
A Master of the Internet.
Yeah. Bing it, please. Bing.com. So close to bingo, and I just realized that.
Maybe that's the
what?
Yeah, I'm still surprised they've never reached out to the guy from Groundhog Day. What's that guy's name? What's the actor? He's a character actor.
Are you talking the one who
Bing?
Bing?
Yeah. Ned Ryerson.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, this is if you're getting the audio only podcast. Again, I can't say it enough. You're doing yourself a huge disservice. Die in a car fire. Here it is, Master. Master.
The Internet. You can use it for work, play, or just to explore. Do you wish you knew how to use the Internet? Well, now you can become a master of the Internet.
Hi, I'm Dale Kosenekin Jr. Did you know that in a matter of months, not only will all your friends and loved ones and neighbors have the Internet, they will have mastered it. Do you want to be left behind when they all go to technology heaven? I didn't, and that's why I bought my videos, and so should you too. It's the Internet. Anything's possible.
That fucking look. That look is kills me every time.
Chatting
I love
with
it.
women,
For those, again, if you're
doing
on
taxes.
the audio only podcast, Jonah is wearing like a very nice buttoned up kind of polo shirt.
Yeah. Khakis.
The mustache. Oh my god.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, the Weird Al gap in that mustache.
Go ahead, ask me something.
What's the capital of Dallas?
I'll use the help of the Internet to give you an answer.
You were bred for this, man. This is Bing It On, but from the early 90s.
Yeah, exactly.
You were bred for this.
Yeah.
This was your audition for the role.
Yeah, and then this was me and the guy who made this is his name is Peter Atencio. Now he's like the director of Key and Peele, which I think is one of the best sketch comedy shows to come out in a long time. Mm-hmm. And like this is the kind of stuff I like, man. Just dumb, weird stuff. Like, and there was even like another version of this that we actually never finished, but it was we made that and we put it out. And then, but like when we were shooting it, I did a bunch of stuff where I mess up a lot of the words and like a lot of the stuff that we were doing, and like I flip out because we had just seen
Winnebago Man.
It was
style?
exactly this Winnebago
yeah,
Man,
yeah.
and it was before like it was back still when Winnebago Man was still just like the
You had to know a guy to
VHSs.
know a guy
Yeah,
to see it. Yeah.
exactly. Those old like underground tapes.
That.
Yeah, I know. I miss that so much.
You know what? And not to tangent, but like the solace that I find is now that other countries are starting to get technology. Africa's got cell phones now with with camera recorders. Russians and their dash cam footage. It's like we're going to have another resurgence as more and more communities get connected to people who don't quite grasp that it's going to live forever.
Yeah.
And they're going to upload embarrassing, awkward shit. And it's like, okay, now we pretty much in the U.S. we get that it lives on, and that's that,
Yeah.
and we won't have as many beautiful moments as that. But
Exactly. Well, that's the thing about like the youth is that like the craziest thing that makes you a kid isn't like, you know, your age or your like, it's just like, it's you, when you're a kid, you completely forget that like, you're not going to be a kid forever. Like you just like, when I think back, it's just like, I knew that's how time works. I know how that like you age, and you know how that's like every, you know, you're 21, 22, 23, and you know that, but it doesn't feel like it.
No,
it doesn't feel like it
not
at all.
And there's that fearless exploration that comes with the notion of like, I have no fucking clue what that is, that old age or that this or that, this thing that I'm going to make that's going to be seen in 20 years and scrutinized or attached to me. Yeah, fuck it. Let's go to the park and make a silly thing.
Yeah, exactly. And there's, you know, there's like a bunch of stuff like that.
I remember the barbecue. The
Jonah Ray barbecue.
The barbecue.
Cash grab.
And then
that was a cash grab.
Well, I remember that, and then I remember the like the video game sort of pilot thing that you sent me.
Yeah, that was like, you know, that was another thing that was for Comedy Central. They approached me.
I like that one.
Thanks.
I liked that one. Did you like? Was your heart? I mean, I'm sure a piece of your heart was in it. Was the whole thing beating and spewing blood on that project or no?
No, well, here's what it was. It was like the first time, like for some reason out of nowhere, Comedy Central started paying attention to me, and like they brought me in for a couple meetings, and I was like, wow. And then they're like, hey, do you like play video games? And I don't. I didn't really, you know, like I do here and there, but like I don't have I'd rather watch a movie, you know.
Right.
You know, I'm kind of like
But in that room, I'm sure you were like, yeah. In fact,
like,
here's my NES light gun. Let me arch my back and pose with it.
Yeah.
You can put this on Maxim.
Yeah,
I know how this industry works.
Let me lick my Atari Lynx. Give me a show.
I'm gonna fuck a Jaguar right now. I'm gonna smash my dick in the cartridge port. Put this.
I'm gonna shove a TurboGrafx 16 up my butt. And then Nomad and Game Gear. So we're just
wow, that's sizable.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
But yeah, they're like, do you play videos? I was like, of course I do.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Big game air. And they're like, all right, well, we really want to do like a kind of a, you know, video game show, kind of, you know, video game theme stuff, kind of like a Tosh feel, like a Soup feel. And so I got a couple guys, you know, I got Brad and Boyd who were like Soup and Web Soup guys, and you know, and then
I missed your call on that one. I'm sorry about that.
You had a show of your own.
No, I'm not shaded at all.
And you know, and they and then I got Kumail Nanjiani and I got Paul Bonanno, like a bunch of, you know, like
you basically were poaching the best of the best from the G4 umbrella and family, and rightfully so. The amazing team that
exactly. Team. And then like it was basically, you know, they were like, do you want to do it? And so we started putting together the funniest, weirdest version of it we could, and they're like, you know, like make it specific. We had just like really weird stuff happening throughout the time, and then like about a week before we were gonna do the studio stuff, they're like broaden it out.
No. The research came back.
Yeah.
A focus group in Peoria does not know what the Lynx is.
Yeah, and it just like it gave us like, it tripped us, and then we started kind of like doing really base jokes, and you know, kind of. And it just became, and then, you know, there was a lot of stuff like you know, don't wear a plaid shirt, shave your face completely, get a short haircut, change your glasses. And I was like, who'd you fucking hire?
Right, yeah. They were the girlfriend that started paying attention to you at the bar, and they were like, I can change him.
Yeah.
We can, all right, let's put him in shrink wrap and market him.
Yeah. and it was, you know, it was a fun experience because I was working on it with all my friends.
Sure.
And it didn't get picked up, rightfully so. I don't think it was a pick-upable show. But it did show me that I don't really have much interest in. And it did take me a little bit because then I ended up getting, you know, went back to Web Soup, and then I got a job on The Soup. And I realized that, like, you know, magazine TV stuff, like this kind of disposable entertainment, like it was, although I love it and I love being a part of it, it's not what I want to spend my time doing. You know, like it's like when I think about the stuff that inspired me as a kid to get into any of this stuff, it wasn't
that Entertainment Tonight or Access Hollywood piece on someone's shoes that blew the doors off of you.
Yeah, like, you know, just I want to spend my, like, it's like, you know, even when we were doing the Nerdist show for BBC America, they're like, you should go and talk to these guys at this comic book store. And I was like, no, like fake things. I'm only going to do fake things, like, you know, things that are made up, things that are like funny for the sake of being funny, not funny on top of mainly being infotainment. You know, that was always like that was like the thing that I realized coming out of that pilot.
That's a beautiful realization to have, and also such a milestone that you are now in a career where, as you said earlier, like I think things and make a living off of just thinking and being me, which is damn near impossible in this world. Yeah. And it's like now not only do you have that, but you can also say like, no, I'm not going to do that thing. I'm not going to go with the stick mic to the guy that's dressed like a dragon and the cosplay thing and make the jokes here unless I get to create the dragon and the world that he's a fan of and then transform into one at the end of it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then we go fuck cars.
Yes, and then it breaks and then it becomes a thing and then exactly. And that's what I was trying to do with and we did a lot of that on Web Soup when I was working on
Never
that.
saw it. Never saw it.
But it was it was the idea of just like set up the pretense that this is what happens usually. Everyone knows how these things happen, and then break it, and then mutate it, and then like turn it into something else. And that was a lot of stuff that you and I like always. That's like how we kind of like became buddies. Was that like when we started?
Oh, you just throw
about
that
this.
term around.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, sure. Okay, I guess we're buddies now.
I paused before I said it. I paused before I said it.
I noticed the what did I get upgraded from? Like acquaintance?
Palsy. But like it's like we talked like you had these great ideas for these like little live action 3-panel comic book kind of shorts, which are essentially kind of like what ended up becoming like 5-second film kind of stuff.
Kind of, yeah.
And but I remember the one. Yeah, it was
I still
so
want to do
funny.
the little kid with the secret powers.
Yes, I think about that thing almost every
do that
day.
So bad.
You
How do
have
we
to-
do that?
It's
How do we
easy.
do that? I don't know how to do that kind of thing anymore. I podcast and cry.
No,
it's mostly what I do.
It's fun, it's like you're so funny. I don't think
love
you give
that
yourself
bit.
credit
Oh,
for
no,
like because
thank
like
you.
those like
Thank you.
and you had a couple other ones, but the one that always stuck out to me was like the kid wanting to fly, the kid being able to fly, and then the next thing you know, he's being dissected because he's
by the
able
government,
to
strapped to a table,
yeah.
being tortured and shot with lasers.
Yeah, even like as an animated thing, that like would be incredible.
I would love to do that.
I can make that.
You know a
happen.
guy who knows a guy?
I know.
You got a guy that pirated After Effects?
My wife is an animator.
Yeah, congrats on that, by the
thank
way.
you.
Congratulations
Yeah,
on marrying an animator.
Thanks.
But also a woman you love, I'm assuming. Not
Yes.
just marry the profession.
You know, I love her so much because she has a lot of my life. It's been
But she animates. Have we talked about
she
that?
animates. Yeah,
What's she
yeah.
animate on?
Right now, she's working at a company called 6 Point Harness, and so they're working on the new Cosmos. So they're gonna be doing animated stuff for
way.
Cosmos. Yeah,
Have
yeah.
you seen fucking rough cuts or anything like that? Don't. Come on.
No,
No?
not yet. No. It's all at it's all at the
Oh my
studio.
god, I want to see it so bad.
Yeah, she's they're all really excited about it, and she's great. She worked on the Ricky Gervais show. She's done a bunch of stuff. She did a bunch of like gifts for CC Studios, which are just mind-blowingly disgusting and weird, and like I love it. It's neat coming like into like she'll be like doing an all-nighter and I'll come in the morning and she's like, do you want to see what I've made? And it's like disturbing what she's showing me. And it's like like that's like when you're a kid and you see Aeon Flux for the first time, you're like, the tongue looks weird.
Yeah. Why is there a fly in her eyelash?
Yeah, there's stuff like that and and it's just so weird and funny. She's so great.
But how awesome that you could be proud of someone who creates the most fucked up weird shit. It's like,
damn
that's
right, yeah.
beautiful, sweetheart.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best. And then
she's standing in a basin scrubbing herself with a Brillo pad and just skin and blood is coming off.
Yeah.
She hates herself.
Yeah,
and you're like, that's beautiful.
Why do I make these things? Yeah.
How was Wedding Mad? I mean, I don't want to. I know you've talked about it a lot, but I'd love to have the conversation about Wedding
It
Madness.
was great.
Was the decision impossible?
The-
Was that an
to
easy
marry
thing?
her?
Yeah, to go through that process.
No. That's the thing. It's like it didn't.
Aren't you supposed to
seem-
do that? Oh yeah, mistake of my first step towards my first divorce. Like,
yeah,
isn't it supposed to be that?
Yeah, those
Like-
are the fun things. Like the joke I've been doing now. It's like they're like, "Oh, you're married." I was like, "Yeah, 3 weeks, man. It's been the greatest." I'm suffocating. I am suffocating. My left arm hurts. No, it's like it was the easiest thing to do. It was odd, Like I never thought about really getting married at all. Like I never was a guy that was like, it's like, oh, I'm looking for a wife, or And she's the same way. She was like, never really thought about marriage, and just it just kind of it was so fun and easy, and just every step of the way.
Did you have a bridezilla moment?
No, like everything was really mellow. We tried to strip down the essence of what a wedding is, just to make it simplified.
So you just went with steampunk and midgets.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was it. But midgets on stilts, so they weren't intimidatingly awkward.
Yeah, it wasn't weird because we had apes around. They can't be, same size over there. But yeah, it was the best, and the wedding was great, and we had it in Atwater Village, and my friend is a Harmar superstar, and he was like the wedding band, and then they did a cover of Power of Love from the Back to the Future soundtrack. But also, here's another crazy thing: Tom Wilson, a comedian who also was the guy who played Biff in the Back to the Future movies, was a guest at the wedding. And Sean Harmar messes up the lyrics, and all of a sudden Tom Wilson runs up on the stage and like grabs the mic, pushes him out of the way, and
I'll
that's
show you how
the
to do this.
power of love. and everyone's mouths just fucking dropped.
That's
Everyone was like, "No!"
Amazing.
Yeah. It was pretty great.
Oh my God! Did he give you the almanac as a gift?
He said, yeah, one day there's going to be a podcaster and his scumbag friend, and they're going to come looking for that almanac.
I love it. Now, so we've been going an hour, but I do want to wrap up talking
that
about.
was already an hour.
There was an hour, man.
Oh,
it flies.
man.
It flies when you're touching dicks under a table.
When you get into your next conversation about the Xbox One, I do want to bring up one thing before I go about the way people talk. You know how Netflix has been premiering episodes all at once.
Let's hop into it.
I think that's a bad idea.
Oh yeah.
I think that ruins one of the biggest things about a show is the community of a show. Is now it's like when like House of Cards came out, I saw two people talking about it, and it's
Wait, what episode are you at? I'm only up to 3.
yeah,
and
oh, you
I'm
didn't watch
at-
the whole thing, and then you're gonna love it when and there's like this now there's this disjointed thing where no one really knows, and everyone always does that thing like I love seeing all of them at once, but not everyone does that.
Right.
One of the things that made Lost so much fun was like watching an episode and talking about it with people for the rest of the week.
Right.
If Netflix would just do like one episode a week,
right? I
keep them
think
all up.
I think what happened is that with Lost was amazing because you'd have this conversation. It's a prolonged thing. People look forward to it. They have their parties, their themed potlucks, their bingo cards, and it becomes an event, not just this thing that's on. Then it disappears for 6 to 8 months or a year, and then it's like that interest wanes, but then you get the hype back up. Okay, it's going to come back on. I think it's got to be a hybrid of that because some people do like the binge viewing, some people do like the appointment viewing. I didn't mind the appointment viewing, but I hated the giant gap in between. And if they would have just said House of Cards is going to be on, this is the time it's going to be on, we're going to meter it out, there wouldn't be such a gap between the next round of episodes. I'm like, I feel like you did the worst of both worlds. I mean, you serviced only the binge viewing people, but you really fucked the appointment viewing people because now it's all there. I got to try to churn through it on my own schedule, which feels weird and disjointed.
Too.
And now I'm going to have to wait twice as long because you shot your entire load when you released the whole thing at once.
Exactly. I really believe that putting one episode out a week, keeping all the episodes online, as you go along.
Yeah.
But it's going to make people like talk about it. It's going now instead of like a week and a half of people talking about all the episodes of House of Cards, you have 13 weeks.
Yeah.
That's 13. That's you add the amount of time people are talking about the show so much more.
It's so funny. I've had this conversation about this series on this podcast, and I think I was like, yeah, it's great because it's appointment viewing, and if you want to watch it, watch it. And I'm like, no, it's totally valid. Of like, what happened to the community in the sense of people posting on forums and tweeting about that week's episode versus the entire series. And did you see the whole thing? And I sat down and what'd you think of House of Cards? By the way, did you watch it?
I have not done yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it
because I got to like episode 4 or 5 and was engaged enough, but I think because the other episodes were there, and I was like, well, I'll get around to them when I get around to them. Versus the oh shit, it's Sunday night, let's go, it's on, let's get that new episode.
Exactly.
I think that stopped my momentum with the series, and I haven't finished it.
There's a like weird music equation to this where it's like the first time I had ever heard the band Guided by Voices, I was like, my God, this is great. Like I heard it at a party, I was like, I'm gonna go and get some Guided by Voices records. I go and it's like a ton of records. They have so many records,
right.
And I was like, I don't know where to. I'm good. And I never bought them. I never got into them for years after that.
That is way too much homework. Forget that. I'm not going to the back catalog.
Where do I start?
Yeah.
There's just too much to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you watch Celeb Apprentice? Are you watching?
No, I don't really watch reality kind of stuff. I try to watch stuff that people write and create and put their hearts and souls into. But
how dare Penn Jillette put his heart and his soul
into
into Celeb Apprentice? Yeah, the chocolate swirtle, and he was fucking robbed.
Yeah.
But so, what are you watching these days? What's inspiring you? You watching a lot of online shit?
I don't know. What do I just try to watch a bunch of movies all the time. Is what I do. Well, I thought as far as like online series, Burning Love is like one of the
so good.
It's the only online series that I would ever like say, have you seen that show Burning Love? I guess it is a show now, but the movie Beginners is a movie I just keep on rewatching.
Beginners?
Yeah, Beginners. It's a great movie. Real sad and cute and fun, and is
it new?
No, it came out maybe a couple years ago. It's kind of in the genre of Silver Lake movies. where it's so that's like it kind of.
I'll watch it with my robotic crow that sits on my shoulder.
It's movies that like people that live in Silver Lake would like, but also because some of it is shot in Silver Lake.
Okay, you got it.
And
Well, that's I had that. I was in Portland recently, and everybody's talking about Grimm, just left and right talking about Grimm.
Really?
I had never seen Grimm. Grimm is shot in Portland.
Oh, so
and so they'd be like, guys, we have to save the world by expelling this demon out of this little girl, but first let's go to Voodoo Donuts on the 3rd and 12th, and we're gonna go and have one of their finest Voodoo Donuts because that's
exactly.
a Portland thing, and then
Yeah.
we're gonna go kill the demon girl.
Voodoo Donuts should just be called donuts with cereal on it. That's pretty much what it is there.
Do you like Portland? You're there a lot, right, for shows? And
Yeah, I go like probably like once a year, something like that, once or twice a year. I love it up there. It's nice. I have a lot of friends from Seattle, and so it's like nice if I go to Portland, they can come down and visit. It's a great city, and I fit in more so than makes me feel comfortable.
right? Yeah, you're welcomed.
Yeah, because it's the thing is, it's like a lot of guys that dress like me down here in LA, but there's a lot of guys in the Pacific Northwest that also have my same body type, so it makes me feel a little better. Well, fill out.
They'll style the build the same way.
Yeah, exactly. They go to Urban Outfitters, big and tall.
Where can people grab your comedy albums, and how can they listen to your old podcast, The Jonah Radio?
Well, they could. It's Jonah Radio, RAYDIO is available at like Nerdist.com. It's hosted there. My albums are sold out on vinyl, but they are still available digitally.
Love that you released them on vinyl too.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank
You're doing
you.
another one?
Yeah, I'm going to do one more. It's the third in a series. I set out to have 3 records and have them all named after lines from the Mystery Science Theater movie. First one was This Is Crazy Mixed Up Plumbing, and the second one is Hello, Mr. Magic Plane Person, Hello, and the third one will be entitled it's called Breach Hull All Die, and it's going to be underlined. And if you know if you know the movie, it's like it's like even if you know the movie, it's hard to
Right.
It was just like a dumb bet I made with my friend, and when I was like a freshman.
Did any of those make it to the quote section on IMDb?
Yeah, I think
Did they
so.
really?
I think
Okay,
so. Yeah. It's like it's when I was growing up, I was like probably like a freshman or sophomore in high school, and like I was saying, like when I put out a comedy album, it's going to be called This Is Crazy Mixed Up Plumbing. And my friend's like, you're not going to do that. And I was like, I bet you I will. And each one's going to be the name of a line. And he's like, whatever. And so it was just, yeah.
It's unfortunate he passed away before he could see that happen.
It really
That's
was
really
really
sad.
a bummer.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Ray.
Well, on that note, Jonah, thanks so much for.
Thank you.
No. What else is coming up? When your half-hour special is, if
you're listening now as we record this,
which that's all 16 of you.
Yeah,
Pay
yeah.
attention this Friday, Comedy Central.
It's this Friday, Comedy Central is me and Gabe Liebman, who's also a very, very funny comic. We both have our half hours this Friday, and I'm sure
This is first.
Yeah.
Good. He's opening for you. You're kind of close.
Oh no,
That's the
sorry,
best.
no, sorry. His first special. Oh,
Good.
yeah,
Fuck
no,
him.
sorry,
You know,
I'm first,
because there's going to be drop off, and so people watch you and they're like,
But
they're
you know,
like,
on second thought, I actually, he
wait
is first. Yeah.
God damn it! I'm really trying. Okay, so special this Friday. People can search for Jonah Radio, RAYDIO on iTunes or on the old Nerdist network.
At Jonah Ray on Twitter.
Does he beat you? Does Chris hit you? Show me
Does
when he
with
touches you.
words. With words.
By the way, the Brody Stevens thing that
Oh
they recently
yeah,
put was so
yeah.
fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I was on Push Believe.
What? What did I miss?
Push and Believe is Brody Stevens' little web show
Yeah,
for
I'm
Comedy Central. That's Joe DeRosa. There's Nikki Glazer. And
This was the best one, by the way. I
oh,
thought.
thanks. Yeah.
Wait, can you go? I don't think I heard this.
Brody Stevens, if you so choose to go that way, but you don't have to.
I don't want to.
So ow, I hit my elbow. Darn it. I hit my elbow, and where is the nearest hospital? Let me check the call
I think you
sheet.
should just wait a little bit. I think the pain might go away.
You gotta be feeling good, Jonah.
I feel okay. I'm getting married.
Yeah, you're getting married.
Yeah.
Where is that gonna happen? Comic-Con? We had a Twitter tiff. It was regarding the tsunami, the great tsunami of Japan.
I didn't
and
know
I
he was
went on
gonna do
Twitter
this.
and I made a joke
really?
about, can somebody check my mail before the tsunami hits my condominium? I got 17 retweets. And then you went on Twitter and said, Brody, because you're from Hawaii. Like, that was the tsunami could have impacted Honolulu.
Yes, it was headed for Honolulu.
No joke.
Parents are there.
Parents are there.
They live near the water.
And you said, at Brody, is we friend, Brody, shut the fuck up.
Is that all I said?
Yes.
Really?
Maybe you remember?
I'm out of my mind. I can't get a hold of my parents. When I finally do, my dad says they're just going to stay and wait it out. I'm going crazy.
Right.
And then I saw your tweet. I could have easily just emailed or texted you, but for some reason I did it in a public forum, and it was not cool of me.
Really?
Yeah. I think that's a silly thing that I did. I regretted doing it.
I'm not going to say I held a grudge, but it was something I thought about. Now, I feel so much better. I got it off my chest. You got it off your chest.
Well, it wasn't on my chest.
It wasn't?
No, I haven't really thought about either of those tweets since the moment that happened.
I let it go now once I heard you say it was wrong and you felt bad about it.
You let it go when I put the blame on myself. Yeah. So when I was like, it was my fault, you're like, oh, this is such a relief.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
This shit was so funny. I love Brody.
Yeah, Brody is my friend. Brody is great.
So good.
Yeah.
Jonah, thank you for sitting down.
Thanks for having me.
Seriously, it's so happy and proud of everything that's happening. I'll absolutely be watching on Friday. I'm hoping they'll put the episode online as well for those who are hearing this. It'll likely get posted next week or so.
I think so. Do they put them on, like, do they sell them? I don't know
You'd
how
think
it
that
works.
they'd be able to do something like that in this day and age.
Yeah.
Like figure out a way to get the content people want into their hands.
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, exactly.
Crazy talk. I'm sure they will. Anything else that we're not promoting or plugging?
No, I don't think so.
Dude, thank you, man.
Thank you.
It's really good to see you.
Think
And
of me as a human being.
let's
think of all of us as human beings before you think of anything else.
let's make a 3-panel comic about a kid who thinks he can fly.
We can make that
who gets tortured
animated
by the
if you
government.
want to.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love
Like
to
kind of
do it.
that weird, like jittery, kind of like
Fuck yeah.
like some zooms and like the third panel starts with his face scared and it pulls out, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You see it. He's playing with like airplanes in his little room, and he's so happy. And
Yeah.
then the
And
next
kinda like
I wish I
this-
could fly. And now
yeah.
he's flying. Whee!
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. And then like maybe like a voice like figure out how he does it.
is it genetic or not?
Yes, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do the Russians have this technology? I love it. Thank you
Yeah.
again, good sir.
Thank
Brian,
you.
anything you want to promote before we wrap this up? And for those who are listening live, we are going to come right back with a discussion of all things Xbox One, the future of everything. But Brian,
I'll
anything
just
you
wait
wanna promote on
till
this?
I'll just wait till later.
Fuck yeah. All right. Kisses, hugs, belly rubs. That's it for Jonah Reyes. Pointless episode. That's it. Yeah, goodbye.